So, what is all this shamanic painting about that I've been talking about on my Facebook page? And how do you do it? And why would you want to do it? And why would you talk about this today on a day where we have a full moon and a lunar eclipse? It's all connected. I'm Pamela Mann, and I am a creative fit coach. And creative fit painting for me is to work with meditation and intention in creating paintings versus just kind of just sitting down and randomly doing it, although randomness fits in with it. I wanted to talk to you today because it is a special day with the lunar eclipse, and the full moon is always a powerful time to spend in contemplation, thinking about what it is that you want to manifest and what you want to create, and use this energy to amplify your intentions. And so that's why I'm coming on today, is to talk about this and to share a little bit of what I've done before using this time. Shamanic painting, for me, is wonderful because I love ritual and I love ceremony, and I love incorporating that into other areas of my life to make it a little bit more special, meaning, and sacred. Oh, hi everyone that's watching. I'm so happy to see you here. And I have playing live on my laptop here. If I can get the thing here. I'm doing live the eclipse that's going on from a viewing station in Australia. So I'm just kind of bringing that energy into my office and my sacred space where I do my painting. And so what we're going to be doing, I'm going to switch my camera view here, is I'm going to start with showing you this painting right here that you can see that's got the phoenix and the angel on there. This was at the this is the completed painting that I started on July 1st with the first shamanic painting workshop that I did. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the steps of getting it to this completed form. And in this little bit of time that we have on Facebook Live, I'm going to go from this blank canvas to getting started to something similar to this, which is the very first layer. And of course, there's a little bit of imagery in there, but then that eventually will turn into something that looks a bit more like this. And one of the reasons that I enjoy doing shamanic painting is that it comes in layers, because it's a really good reminder of the layers that come in our lives and how they shift and they change quite quickly. And it is a great way to process feelings and some things that may not be necessarily in your awareness, and sometimes things come up that you can't always give voice to. So I like to use art as a way to access the inner voice and to process some feelings that might be difficult to process otherwise. And then I also do it to relax and to meditate. And I find that when I do this, it takes me out of the logical brain, out of the left brain, the logicalness in my mind, and it gets me out of that into my heart. And then once I'm in that heart space while I'm painting, then I'm opened up to gaining information from my inner self, my inner wisdom. And it's also a way for me to access information from my guides, if you believe in that, or if that's something that resonates with you. It's something that certainly does me. And so I'm always looking for ways to quiet my mind so that I can be still and listen, and that's what the painting does. So and I really like to paint on days where we have extra energy coming in, so that's why I wanted to do this. I just find it to be very, very powerful. And I will be hosting a shamanic painting workshop tomorrow at Unity of Fredericksburg from 1 to 4. So again, we're still in the energy of the full moon, so we're going to be painting tomorrow, so that will be great. And we still have openings in the play shop tomorrow. And I don't call my workshops because they're really about sacred play, and we don't allow ourselves enough time to play. And so this is a sacred time and space to do that. So hi Edith, thanks for joining in. So what I'm going to do is I want to kind of shift my camera again, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the blank canvas, and I'm just going to do the very start of how we open up the shamanic painting process. It looks very similar to some of the paint and sips and the paint parties that you go to, but again, I like to put in a little bit of intention and ritual, so I'm going to go over a little bit of how I start the process. And hi Morgan, they're $85. And that's for the 3-hour play shop, and that includes a meditation, guided voice meditation, and a sound bath, in addition to the painting. And then I also have some crystals and stones for each person that is there, and those are already bundled up and just waiting to go and to be with people. So pardon the shakiness in the camera, but I'm going to shift over to the blank canvas, and then I'm going to get started. And normally I would have some music playing in the background, but since I can't find the one very quickly where I have the rights to, I'm just going to do it kind of silently and just use some bowls and bells, which is kind of more like what I do when we do our live sessions anyways. But I will have the music playing during the painting play shop tomorrow. I will have some meditative music going, but this is just how we get very much get started, and this is the heart of the whole process. So I'm excited about sharing what brings me a lot of joy and a lot of meaning. I'm really looking forward to sharing this with you. So pardon the camera, I'm going to turn it around and then get it back into the tripod so that I can start showing, and I'll talk with you as we paint. Okay, just trying to get the camera adjusted to the canvas. And of course, this is the first time I'm trying to really do this, and there's a learning curve, but I would rather work with the learning curve instead of not sharing. So the first thing that I like to do when I do a shamanic painting is I like to get grounded and centered. And so and for me, I start with a bell so that I can let my spirit know that I'm entering into a sacred time and space. And I also like to light a candle, and the candle brings in the presence of the Holy Spirit, and it is also part of the sacred container that holds that sacred space for me and works with me as I quiet my mind and settle into working with Spirit to create a painting that may not have meaning to anyone else, but has a lot of meaning to me because of the process. So I'm going to set the candle down in a safe place so that it won't tip over. And I'm just going to invite you to take a couple of deep breaths. Begin to quiet down your mind. And then as I move from my mind into my heart, I start to think about what my intention is going to be. And I like to bless my canvas and my materials. And the nice thing about blessing them is you can do them exactly in the spot where you do them, or you can also send the intention out into the entire room where everything is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay my hands on my paint tray and my canvas, and this is my water. It's got essential oils in there so that I'm getting the aromatherapy for myself as I paint as a way to relax. And then it also is a way to infuse that into the canvas as well, so that you've got that support from the essential oils coming into the canvas. And I'm just going to take a quiet moment to bless my materials and then to set my intention on my canvas. And the way that I like to start out with the shamanic paintings is I am also a Reiki master, so I like to put some Reiki energy into there. And so when I was blessing, I was putting some Reiki energy there. But I'm also going to put the Reiki master symbol on my canvas, so that is part of the painting and will be infused into that. And that kind of brings the energy forward, and then it sets the intention right into the canvas. And then the next step is I just set any intentions, and while I'm setting my intentions, I'm going to start just applying paint onto the canvas. It's going to be random. Again, it's going to look more like these squiggles before it turns into something beautiful and distinguishable, but that's the way it is that I work with spirit, is working with just allowing things to flow and just to be playing with it and just seeing what happens. And again, these will go into layers, and the layers will go into many, many different layers for the painting to develop. And it's just like our lives. Our lives are layered. Many pieces that move and change and overlap themselves. And I like to play with the colors. You can just use your primary colors and just mix them to create the other colors, or if you want to just really allow the creative process to happen, just use a bunch of colors that are already pre-mixed and then add a little bit of something else to it so that it makes it your own unique color. So I'm just going to start adding some other colors. And when we do our play shops, I try to limit the talking amongst the group so that we can stay in the heart space as we paint, so that we can just allow spirit to unfold and bring out what wants to be unfolded. I love working with circles and spirals. They're a very, very ancient symbol and part of sacred geometry, and is part of the most basic and primal art form and symbol you see, and a lot of things will come out of those. And again, I'm not really at this point thinking about what this is going to turn into. I'm just using the freedom to express some color and to just kind of play and see what happens. I've been on a roll these last few days with some blues and some greens and some purples. I've been on this water beachy theme. I guess it's probably because we're in July and in the middle of our summer season, and so that seems to be the colors that want to emerge and play the most right now. I do like working with fire energy as well, with lots of reds, but today the blues are kind of calling me again. And as I was preparing for this, I thought that perhaps the eventual outcome may be a picture of the moon with some water, and maybe even try and capture the eclipse on canvas, but I'm not sure yet. So this is the start. And with the shamanic painting, it doesn't always manifest itself in one day. I've had a couple of them that I started that that still haven't finished. There are still some pieces on there that need to be worked on. But I have found that when I work with spirit, I don't try and force it because it doesn't work. So I allow the paintings, once I get the first layers and the base started, I allow them to speak to me as to what emerges and when to work on them. And I find that with the shamanic paintings that they tend to wake me up in the hours between 3 and 5, which is when spirit usually talks to me. And so I know when I'm awake at then and the painting's kind of calling me to just get up and start painting, and then I can go take a nap and come back to it later. And like I said, this is just the first layer, and this will look very different once it's finished, and even in a couple of layers from now, it's going to be different. And part of this, too, with setting the intention is also including symbols that I would like to have support me, even though you can't see them underneath the paint. They are still powerful, and the energy of them still carries into the painting through all of the layers. And that's something that I've been doing for a number of years and have been doing with my labyrinths. I will often write scriptures or poems or verses underneath in the lines that are going to get painted over, so that that energy carries into the labyrinth. So it's something that I've been doing since like 2005, and so just putting it all together into the painting practice has been quite a joy for me to really hone the process and make it more meaningful, and then start sharing it with others. I became a creative fit coach through the program that I'm in with Whitney Freya, and she actually was the person who gave me the term shamanic painting. It was just pretty much the process that I've been doing, but the first time I had a name for it. And so you can also visit whitneyfreya.com, and there is some painting courses on there, and there is a shamanic painting course through her. I'm in the process of developing courses as I do individual play shops in them. And as I said, there is going to be a shamanic painting play shop tomorrow at Unity of Fredericksburg, and from 1 until 4. And you bring your own canvas, and I will supply the paint and everything else that you need, and we'll do that. So I'm just enjoying myself here, using the different colors and just painting away and just seeing what happens. And I rarely change my paintbrush or wipe it off. I usually just move from one color to the next just to see how the colors want to play with each other. And the other thing that I like to do when I am working on a shamanic painting is have a journal next to me where I can write my insights and things that come up as I paint, because again, this invites a heightened state where information comes in, and I have found that when I'm in this heightened state, it comes through, and then when I'm not in a ritual or ceremony anymore, I forget what came through. So I will either record or bring a journal and write in my journal as I paint. And sometimes I also will paint my intention directly on the canvas. So I'm going to paint the word Om, because that is the symbol for oneness. And that is always my intention, is to be tapped into the collective energy and see the one that we all are. Even though we are individual expressions, we are still an expression of the one. And I always like to include hearts. And green is the color of the heart chakra, so I try to do them in green as much as possible and work on aligning my chakras and opening my heart at the same time that I paint. So I like infusing that color in there. And green and blue are some of my favorite colors. I like all the colors of the rainbow, but these are some of my favorite colors that I'm working with right now. So, so it's kind of looking like there was some things going on, but it's also kind of looking like it could be getting messy, and that's really, really okay. So I'm just gonna paint a little bit more here. And one of the things that we have learned in our coaching classes is we are the artists of our own life. So sometimes I will even write this affirmation. Sometimes when I'm putting my intentions on the bottom layer, I will even write them in. So I am artist of my life. So you can see I have actually put, you can see the I am there. So I will actually use Sharpie marker or some kind of marker on there, or I will use paint to write my affirmations onto the canvas. So there's a lot of things that go into the bottom layers. And again, this is, you know, just like our life is. Our life comes in layers, and each day also is a clean canvas and a clean slate. And it's our choice at the end of the day what it looks like. Do we paint a beautiful picture full of colors, or do we end up with a canvas that's mucky and muddy? And the thing I like about the shamanic painting is that we don't have confines, and we have the freedom to play and allow spirit to move and to rise above any fears. There have been times that when I am getting ready to paint something or do a Facebook Live, I can be sitting and spinning my wheels for over an hour, just building up the courage to just go out there and put myself out there. And you would think that with all the public speaking that I do, that I still wouldn't have that, but it still comes up for me. And even today, noticed a little bit of fear coming up because I'm not feeling 100% and it's not a good hair or makeup day, but I decided that I was going to do this today no matter what. Again, I am still working on setting my intentions. Even though I'm not verbalizing them all, I am silently putting them into my canvas. Sometimes I'm noticing too that when I look into the camera, it looks a little bit different, and I can see things more from the camera than I can when I'm just looking at the canvas. Right now, I'm just kind of sitting on the floor in my studio. Some people do it standing up, but I prefer sitting down, and I find that this painting practice helps to ground me and to help calm me down when I'm having trouble getting my fears to calm down. And rather than try to banish them, I just work with them and just say, it's all right. We're just going to do something else and shift gears for the moment. And I love this hot pink color, and I have it in almost all of my paintings, and it really likes to react and play with the other colors quite well. It's always a fun experiment. And sometimes when I'm working on a painting, I get symbols that come out and I have to stop and go look them up and see what they are. I just write them down, and then go back and look them up later. And I also photograph when I'm not recording. I photograph my layers because they move and change very quickly, so I can see where I went in just a little bit of time. And I always know that when it looks really, really weird and like, oh my gosh, I should just throw this away, I know that I'm just a couple of layers away from it looking and being something that is just absolutely fabulous and gorgeous. And that's just exactly how the butterfly comes to be. The caterpillar, it goes into the chrysalis and sits there and turns into jelly goo, and then it turns into the butterfly, and then it rests and waits, and then it emerges into the beautiful butterflies that we see. And that's very much what the shamanic painting process is, just gathering up color and scribbles and images and working with spirit, and then getting quiet and going in deep and listening some more, and then transforming what comes up into a beautiful finished product. I am available for personal painting consults in practice time. I can teach you how to do this and do some verbal guided visualizations, and I can also do it for groups, and I can travel where the need is and the desire is for it. And I'm going to be developing some painting, shamanic painting retreats where we paint, and then we also do some healing energy and some pampering and having some fun together in community. There's always certainly individual healing that happens, but there's also healing that happens in ways that are different when you are in community with others. And so I intend to be reaching out and sharing different modalities and practices with people in different places and forms. And I am in the process right now of researching retreat centers that I can go to and get a group of people together for weekend retreat, or I'm even open to doing some retreats during the week for those of you that have a lot of obligations and things you want to do on the weekend. I will have day and couple day retreats during the week as well. All of those are in the process and in the pike. I'm just working it as we speak, but today I just wanted to use this energy to paint and share with you. And I also use this time if I'm not recording and talking to anybody, as a time to do personal prayers as I paint. And sometimes I will even paint the names of the person that I am praying for onto the canvas and add that into the bottom layer, so that they are getting that energy, and then the energy that I went into putting into prayers can be supportive to them on an ongoing basis, and that also helps support my prayer practice after it's painted in. So frequently when I do shamanic paintings, I end up with animals or goddesses or ascended masters coming into my paintings. I have one that, Pamela, she's the goddess of the volcanoes in Hawaii, and she came through on the one that I did on solstice in June. And I have a painting in process of Lakshmi, who is a Hindu goddess, and she has many associations, but for the shamanic painting I did, it was actually for abundance and prosperity, and that's one of the things she's known for. And I've also had a whale from where we did the shamanic painting with the whale. I have that one hanging in my office, and I will be posting a picture on that in a little bit. And I have a hummingbird that came out of a shamanic painting as well. So the animals, for me, really like to come out during this process. Everybody has their own unique imagery that speaks to them and comes out to them. Sometimes, I never go in with the intention of what's going to come out, and my experience has been that when I do, the end result is never what I went in with. Except for the whale. The whale one was very much intended. That was something that our training group did together, and so that was the intention, and we actually painted with whale music playing as we were painting. And my first go round of it, the whale looked like an eel because we were just painting about an hour's time, but I did spend time doing layers and layers. And I'm going to show you, it actually turned into the whale that you see on the wall there. So that is the whale that we did with the shamanic painting. This is the one that started out looking like an eel and now looks like a real whale. And we got another painting that I done that's been multiple layers. There you can see it's kind of like a starfish with a turtle embedded in it. That has several layers. It's probably got like maybe 15 to 20 layers on it. And then I've got this hummingbird here. That started out as a squiggle and just painting with water sprayed on it on the canvas, and then it went into layer, into layer, into layer. And again, we have this painting that is going to be gifted to Unity of Fredericksburg. This was used as the demo painting canvas at the Shamanic Painting Workshop at the beginning of this month, and then I just finished it yesterday, and this is the end result. And this other one that you're kind of looking at over here is the future version of me, or a goddess that looks a lot like me, and there's a little elephant in there, and you can see there's a lot of detail on that one. And here is the one that is Pamela that I started on solstice, and I'm going to be working on her. I am not that great at faces, so I took a class on doing faces, and so they're going to be finished soon, I hope. And again, this one right here is one that I'm doing through a watercolor course with Whitney Freya. She's my coach. Precious art crystals, and they're in a powder form, and then you sprinkle them, you put water on there and you sprinkle them, and then this is then you just start working with them. I'll probably do a demo on those soon. And this is how the painting is looking so far, and I'm going to take a break and then paint some more, and then I'll come back on live and show you what the next layer looks like. I'm going to be continuing to set my intentions, and I'm still watching the lunar eclipse from someone that is broadcasting it down in Australia. But I'm going to leave you with this and a peaceful tone from the bowl. And again, my name is Pamela Mann, and I'm a creative fit coach, and I have a website, PamelaAMann.com, and it's in the process of being updated, so it will include more artwork and more photographs, and this video will go on there later. But I hope that you have a relaxing day, and I hope that you are able to create some powerful intentions. The energies from today are going to be lasting for about 6 months. So this is, if there's something, a project that you want to start or need support in, set your intentions of exactly what you want to manifest in these next 6 months, and use this energy of this special day to help you manifest that. I will talk to you later, and I'll check back in just a little while. I will see you later.